OT Cup!
Centennial Cup champions in 2024.
This is the OJ All Access Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Alex Bastiavansky here. Hope you are having a great week. And I am super pumped about today's show. I get to chat with a couple of guys who I watched growing up, who played in the NHL, and they are both now coaching in the OJHL. One of them is Rob Pearson, who played for my beloved Toronto Maple Leafs, among other teams in the big league. And today he is the head coach and general manager of the 2022 Buckland Cup champion Pickering Panthers. He will be on later in the show, but first on will be a man who won the Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins back in 1991, and during that playoff run, had what has become known simply as the save, one of the greatest saves in NHL history. Frank Pietrangelo is now the owner and head coach of his hometown Niagara Falls Canucks, who are having a great second season in the OJHL after moving up from Junior B. And I am so happy now to be joined by Canucks head coach Frank Pietrangelo. Frank, thanks for taking the time. How are things out there at the Falls?
All good up here, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. We've been meaning to do this for a long time. You guys are, you've been a great story since coming to the OJ. 16-11 so far this season. Let's start there. 6 in the West. How happy have you been with the team's performance so far this year?
Well, obviously we're happy the way the season has gone so far. We're halfway through now, and we're in a playoff position, which is great. We have the ability here to possibly move up in the standings, but we're going to have a really good second half and fight for every point that we can get, because the Western Division is very, very competitive.
Yeah, no question about it. It has been a big step forward for you this year, though. After missing the playoffs last year, that was your first year in the OJHL, of course. Let's talk about that for a moment, though. How did you guys find the transition to Junior A hockey after playing Junior B for so many years? I mean, I think the club's been around since, is it 71, 72 was the first season, Frank?
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So how did you guys find the transition to Junior A hockey last year?
Well, it was a tough year for us. We didn't get the clearance from the OHA to join the OJHL until June 27th. So we were way behind everybody else in terms of recruiting, camps, and what have you. So we kind of put together the best team we possibly could. Took a bunch of Junior B players and whoever was left over from the other clubs that didn't make the other Junior A teams, and our goal was to become a Junior A team, and that's what we did. And unfortunately, we had a lot of bumps along the road and had to make a lot of changes, but we're happy that we got our feet wet, and I think it's really helped us take that big step this year.
Was the decision to jump? Sorry, I got a little cold here, Frank. Frog in my throat this morning. But was the decision to jump to Junior A something that you guys had been thinking about doing for quite some time? And why did you take that final step?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right from day one when I purchased a hockey club, my goal is to have the Canucks play at the highest level possible. And, in Canada, we have the CHL, but after that, it's the CJHL, Junior A hockey. And It was always my ambition to bring the Canucks to Junior A. Had talks over the years with Marty and the OJHL directors and tried to make it work. And when this opportunity arose, we jumped at it.
It's such a fertile area too, isn't it, for players? I mean, I've talked to obviously the Leamington Flyers before about their move to Junior A, and that's such a great area that was just underserved by Junior A hockey. And same with Niagara Falls, isn't it? There's so many great players that come out of that area.
It is, Alex, and that's the problem that was present here in Niagara. Like going back to when I was playing junior hockey in the early '80s. In order to play Junior A, you had to move away from home. I moved to Brampton and played in the OJHL, but I mean, other kids had to go as far as Ottawa or out west or what have you. The option just wasn't here. The opportunity wasn't here. So to bring junior A hockey to Niagara Falls and the Niagara region was a big step. And it's going to take some time to build up what we want to build up, because this has been a junior B market, like you said, for, 50, 60, 70 years. And, we're taking steps to do this thing right.
We have to talk about one of the guys who's really excelling this year, Parker Forlan, who's leading your team in scoring. He's second overall in the entire OJ. Looking at my stats here, 48 points so far. One of the things that's interesting to me as well, he's only one of only 3 2006 born players in the league's top 20. So it's been dominated by 205s and 204s this year. But that's saying something for what he's brought to the table this year. Talk about Parker's performance and what you've seen from his game.
Sure does, Alex. I mean, it's a testament to what type of player Parker really is. He does everything for us. He's a leader. He wears a letter on his shirt, even though he's an 06. So what he brings every day to practice, to games, it inspires others to do the same thing. But just a fantastic hockey IQ, a great offensive player. There's no doubt about that. Being second in the league, this is a tremendous league, and for him to have such a great season. And what goes without saying also is, he won the Scholastic Player of the Year in the OJHL last year. So this kid's a very bright student, and, his future is very bright.
Yeah, he must be talking to some schools, I would think, being only 18 years old and in the top 22nd overall. Is he? Are you allowed to say? Or he must be getting contacts. Yeah.
Definitely, Alex. Yeah. I mean, how can they not be, right? And I think, when you have grades like he does, and obviously Ivy League schools, and, they're salivate for a kid like this, because there's a lot of good hockey players, but not a lot of them are 4.0 or 95 to 100% students. And Parker is one of those guys. So, he's still an 06. Like you said, he's 2 years of junior eligibility left. And I think his brightest days are ahead of him.
It's one thing to be the Scholastic Player of the Year. It's another to do it when you're also putting up massive points. I mean, that's the cool thing is some people will really rack up the grades, but maybe they're not, impact players on the ice, but Parker most definitely is. So no, it's been impressive. Another big contributor, Braden O'Keefe, second in scoring on the team, just got called up and played some games with Brantford with the Bulldogs in the OHL, which he has done before, but I saw those couple of games on there. The big question is, number one, how great has he been for you guys this year? And secondly, is he going to be up with Brantford for the rest of the year, or is he going to be back with the Canucks?
No, he's back with us, Alex. And, it's a great opportunity for any of our players to get a chance to play at the higher level. The CHL is a tremendous hockey league. And, Braden's played there over the years now. And he's an 05. He still has another year junior as well. But any opportunity that he gets to go up, we're not going to stand in his way. We're here to encourage any type of opportunity like that. So Braden's been great. He plays on a line with Parker. And, both those guys, the one thing about them is they're undersized guys, 5'9", 10, whatever they are. So sometimes they get overlooked because of their size. And but their ability, their talent, their work ethic, all the rest of it, they're highly, highly skilled players.
So this is a continuation of the Braden thing a little bit, though. But obviously, one of the biggest story in all of hockey over the past month has been the new NCAA regulations that are going to allow kids who've played CHL to now also play Division I hockey, which I think is a great thing overall. Great for the kids. It's going to allow a kid like Braden, who before, since he'd had time in the CHL, it would have been a door that was closed to him. Now it's a door that's going to be open. He could possibly go down and play D1 as well after his time with you guys and time with the Bulldogs. As a guy yourself who back in the day played D1 with the Minnesota Golden Gophers, which is another story I want to get to in a second, but that part first, since you are an NCAA guy originally, what's your take on these new regulations?
Well, I think we're going to have to wait and see how it all unfolds, but obviously it's a great opportunity for players, to be 15 and 16 years old and to have to make a decision that's going to impact the rest of your life or your career, hockey career. It's impossible. And parents don't know the right thing to do. The kids are caught in between, and being in Ontario, we grow up watching the OHL. It's right here in our backyard, and now I have to make a decision to go play in Wisconsin or wherever it is in the NCAA, and you're not familiar with it. So, it's opened the doors now for the top players being allowed to do a lot of different things. We'll see how it affects everything long term, but I think it's only a win-win situation for everybody.
So, like I mentioned, the NCAA was a springboard for you back in the day. You did spend time in the OJHL, which is cool that you're an alumnus with the Brampton Warriors going way back. And then you moved on, as I mentioned, to the University of Minnesota, which is interesting in itself. And the reason I wanted to ask you about that is because they are just notorious for years of only grabbing Minnesota players. There have been a few Canadians that have played for them over the years, but not too many, especially kids from Ontario, because it's normally kids from out west that they would take, if any, outsiders of Minnesota going, especially back in the day and around that. Was it 1981 you went there?
82.
82, okay. How did you end up with the Minnesota Golden Gophers?
Well, that's a funny story here, Alex. I was recruited by, I had 22 D1 scholarship offers and had no idea where to go. Once again, going back to, we didn't have the internet back then. We didn't have a lot of the insight that these kids have nowadays to check everything out. Just, flyers would come in the mail and away you go. But anyway, when I went to Minnesota for my recruiting visit, there were cameras. As soon as I got off the plane, cameras were all over the place. And I'm like, what is going on here? What's the big deal? And one of the seniors was picking me up and he says, well, Frank, you're not aware that we're all Minnesota guys. And I said, well, what am I doing here then? And he says, well, you'll be the first Canadian here since Lou Nanny. I said, Lou Nanny? I said, Lou Nanny's old my grandpa, for crying out loud. Like, this doesn't make sense. So the attention that I got by going there, I just felt that it would be a great opportunity for me to further my hockey career. And, the University of Minnesota is what it is. Herb Brooks was just leaving there at the time. The Miracle on Ice and all the rest of the stuff happened in 1980. So I just thought it was the best opportunity for me. And it was a great 4 years.
What was that like? I mean, yeah, great 4 years, but it's the mecca of hockey in the United States. It's just absolutely unreal. I believe it's probably the only state in the U.S. where hockey is the most popular sport. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. It's just they love their hockey as much as Canadians do. What was it like to be a Golden Gopher?
It was great. A terrific 4 years. Played with a lot of players who ended up playing the NHL alongside me, and just an opportunity to see something different, like we talked about, where you're pigeonholed into your hometown or what have you, and you don't have that any idea what it's like on the outside. But to go down to Minnesota, and like they have high school hockey, and whoever heard of high school hockey here in Ontario, it's just like, what is this high school hockey? And there was 20,000 people there. It was crazy. It was something that you had to see it to believe it, and just a great experience all around.
Yeah, to this day, they still sell out the Excel Energy Center in Minneapolis, 20,000 for those Minnesota high school finals. That's on my bucket list. I've been to some pretty cool events, but the Minnesota State High School Championships are one event that I absolutely want to get to one day. You went on, you had a great career, great professional career. You played a few years in the NHL. Of course, you played for the Penguins. You won a cup it was the first one in 91, right?
That's right.
It was the cup that you won.
Yep.
Before we get to all the great guys you played with, I got to ask you the question. You get this all the time, I assume. But Frank, kids, in case you didn't know, is one of the greatest stops of all time, playoffs or regular season, on one of my idols back in the day. It was Peter, wasn't it? Peter Stastny.
Yeah, that's right.
So just tell us about it first, because do people still ask you about this? I'm obviously asking you right now, but you must get this question all the time. Do you ever get tired about talking about it?
Well, it's kind of hard to get tired of talking about it because it's such a impactful thing, on our journey towards winning the Stanley Cup. And that game there, we were down 3-2 going into Jersey, and Tom Barrasso was our goaltender. He was hurt. Obviously, that gave me the opportunity to play my first career playoff game. Paul Coffey got hurt the game before. He wasn't playing. So, all the chips were against us there. And, the save just happened. And then we won the game and then come back and won game 7. And it was on, here we were on a roll and went on to win the Stanley Cup. So, no, never get sick of talking about that. That's for sure, Alex.
Or that team, probably. What team that was. I was checking out the stats. Recchi led the team in scoring as a 22-year-old as well, which is, I think he had 121 points or something like that, which is crazy. You had Cullen, you had Coffey, you had Trache. You had a couple other guys. I can't remember, some guy named Niagara and some other guy named Lemieux. But Mario was injured for a good portion of that season too, wasn't he? Before coming back and leading. Just what was it like playing with that group of guys? You had so many guys from the Hockey Hall of Fame on that team alone.
Yeah, funny you bring that up. My team's probably sick of hearing me say this, that, we had like 12 Hall of Famers on one team, and just a great experience, obviously. I mean, right from, Craig Patrick, our GM, and Scotty Bowman, who took over for Bob Johnson, was there, and then Scotty Bowman took over the next year, so another 2 Hall of Famers there. But throughout the whole lineup, Lemieux and Jagger and Coffey and Trottier and Mullen and Stevens and Recchi. I mean, you just go on, and Larry Murphy, and names are forgotten, Frank Pietrangelo. So, I mean, it's it was just a great experience, a lot of great memories, and, a highlight of my hockey career, obviously.
And by the way, so Alex is he's your nephew?
Alex, my cousin's son.
Is your cousin. Okay.
Yeah.
And you've obviously watched his career with as a family member and everything. He's the Pietrangelo family name just really wrecking shop in the NHL. What have you thought of his career so far? And you guys obviously must have some great stories to tell each other.
Yeah, we don't see each other a lot because he's playing still now, but obviously him and his dad Joe and I are very close. We're first cousins. Our mothers are sisters. But Alex pronounces his name Pietrangelo, and so we had a family. I don't know where we were, and I said, Alex, listen, it's Pietrangelo. And he says, no, we go by Pietrangelo. I said, buddy, when you win a Stanley Cup, then you can call it whatever you want. Well, he's won 2 of them now, so I guess he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's got one up on you. He's got bragging rights now, right? So
that's right.
So let's just finish off with, after you retire from hockey, you get involved with the Niagara Falls Canucks. I mean, you're a Niagara Falls native, and as you mentioned, this is an organization that goes back over 50 years now. What's it been like to be involved with this junior hockey team in your hometown?
Oh, it's been fantastic, Alex. I mean, I played for the Canucks growing up. Always wanted to give back in some capacity to hockey. I've been blessed to be able to just do hockey my whole life, and not many people can say that. So when the opportunity arose here to come in here and buy the Canucks, I didn't hesitate for a minute. And it was a great time, even when we were a junior B team. But then myself, my partner, Brandon Boone, who's a good man and a hard worker himself. He's a lawyer. He said, listen, let's get into this junior A loop. Let's get into the OJHL. And that step there has really taken us to the next level. The OJHL is just a tremendous hockey league. Very, very respected throughout the hockey world. The opportunity for these kids to get to wherever they want to go, be it the CHL, NCAA, U Sports, pro hockey, everything's at their fingertips here. So very proud to be part of this, Alex, and look forward to building the Canucks into a perennial winner.
Just last question. I've also got Rob Pearson, coach of the Panthers, coming on, who of course was an NHLer as well. Used to watch, loving him suited up for the blue and white, my hometown Maple Leafs. But I'm going to ask him this question as well, Frank, and that's, how important is it for you to be involved in the hockey? You play for so many years. When you retire, do you feel like there's something? Is something just gone? Does it feel like there's something missing there, and that's why it's so important to get back involved with the game on the junior level?
Yeah, well, it's my passion. It's all I know. It's what I know best. That's for sure. Besides my family, hockey is my life. It always has been and always will be. So, I'm 60 years old now and been fortunate to do nothing but hockey my whole life. So, not a day goes by where I don't, thank the Lord for what I've been given. But at the same time, I know I have a lot to give back to these kids, a lot to help them achieve their goals. And hopefully, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 of them end up following the path that I did. So, proud of what I do, Alex. And, we're very happy to be a staple here in Niagara.
You guys are a great organization. You've been just a fantastic addition to the league and a lot of fun to watch, and interested in seeing what you guys are going to do this year once you get into the playoffs. You guys are going to do it, man. You're going to make it in there. A lot of fun to watch, especially guys like Parker, who's just been watching a kid who's, the Scholastic Player of the Year, have the impacted way that he has done also on the ice. Doesn't always happen, and I think it's a great thing. Frank, thanks so much for taking the time. We'll definitely do this again soon.
Love that, Alex. Anytime.
Yeah, Frank's a fascinating guy. And, what he said about Minnesota hockey is bang on. If you go look at the history of Minnesota Golden Gophers hockey, look at all the rosters and count the amount of non Minnesota players that have suited up for them, there aren't many. And Frank was one of them. Very cool. Okay, some quick league news to go over. The latest CJHL rankings came out. Trenton is now number 1. The Golden Ox are the top ranked team in all of Canada at the moment. Leamington sits at number 3. Collingwood slots in at number 9. And Haliburton County has garnered an honorable mention. King Rebellion defenseman Simon Wang, the highest rated OJ player for next June's NHL draft, has signed with the OHL's Oshawa Generals as an affiliate player this season, meaning he'll play games with the Jennies when they don't conflict with Rebellion games. Now, he already has a commitment to Boston University, the NCAA school. Those new NCAA Division I regulations are really opening a lot of doors for players. It'll be great to see Simon get some games in at the major junior level. And 15 OJHL players are currently in Calgary competing for spots on Team Canada East for the upcoming World Junior A Challenge in Camrose, Alberta. The camp began on the 3rd of December, and the roster will be selected on the 5th. Now, last season, Canada East made it all the way to the gold medal final before falling to Canada West. And we've got the OJHL power rankings for you this week. These are from a recent coaches poll that was done. Here is your top 10. Trenton at number 1. Interesting to see Collingwood sliding into number 2, despite being 6 spots down from the Flyers in the CJHL national rankings. Interesting. JRC's at number 4. The Menace in 5th. Huskies 6th. Dukes slide in at number 7. Buzzers come in 8th. Burlington sits at 9th. And Frank Pietrangelo's Niagara Falls Canucks round out the top 10. What do you think about that, folks? Said you agree or disagree? Let us know. Yeah, and I'm so pleased to be joined now by the head coach and general manager of the Pickering Panthers. It's Rob Pearson. Rob, it's great to see you again, man. How are things?
Excellent. Thanks for having me back.
It's been a couple of years, I think. I'm not sure. I think I talked to you after you guys had won it all a couple seasons ago, and that's the last time. But so we got a lot to catch up on here.
Absolutely.
But so this season, 12, 15, 1-1. You guys are in 9th, just out of the playoff spot. But I mean, there's a ton of hockey to be played. So, the rest of the way down the stretch this season. But it's a nice bounce back season for you guys after missing the playoffs last year. You're right in the fight. Just talk about the season so far and how it's gone for the Panthers.
Do you know what? I think it's been great. We've had some good young players join the team this year. And we really believe in Pickering that we're trying to develop younger players and bring them through with a couple of veterans in the lineup and teach them the way it is now in Pickering. And we want to develop and move kids to whether it's D1, D3, Canadian University, or with all the new rules now, the OHL. And we want to be a big part of that in Pickering. And we know it's a stepping stone here for a lot of kids, and we want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have got a track record now. I mean, especially after winning that title a couple of years ago, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I wanted to mention, so Owen Dunning, Quinn Binney lead the way offensively, both tied with 27 points. Not elite numbers, though, offensively. I mean, they're the only two guys on the team within the top 50 of league scoring, and it's towards sort of the tail end of that list as well. But you guys have had more of a balanced approach to scoring this season, it seems, throughout the lineup. And not badly. You've got, I think, 7 guys with 15 points or more. Talk about the offensive output of the season, the team this season.
Yeah, obviously, as a coach and an organization, you'd want more scoring. Makes life a little easier, a little stressful, a little less stressful, obviously. But we are trying to teach. We're trying to teach the younger guys about the defensive part of the game. We are giving opportunities to a lot of players that might not get as many minutes as they normally would. And so we're trying to balance that act out with also trying to put the puck in the net. we do have to add at least a goal, maybe a goal and a half a game to be competitive and to get probably into the playoffs. And that's what we're striving for. And Quinn's done a great job since he's come back from Peterborough in the OHL. He's been an excellent leader on and off the ice. It's just incredible to see how this young man, when I had him, as a 16, 17-year-old, and now he's grown into what he's grown into now. It's been fantastic to see.
Definitely. And the goaltending duo of Ian Micheloni and Gavin Betts getting it done between the pipes. Of course, I've got to ask you about Betts, who's just what a great rookie. And being selected to Team Canada White for the World Under-17 Challenge, leading them to gold, being an all-star on that team. It's great to have a kid like Betts, who's obviously got a lot of eyeballs on him and who's committed to Kingston in the OHL. Well, it was just last week, I think he was named OHL Rookie of the Week. So he's going up and down between the two teams. But talk about first how Betts came to play in Pickering, the connection you have, and also just how tremendous he's been in this rookie season.
Well, the connection there with Betts is Dave Kennedy, our goalie coach. He works with Betsy in the summertime, so that was a great connection there to have. And once we realized where we were in goalie situation, we wanted to bring a young goalie in that could actually step in and play. And Betsy's done that for us. He's been fantastic since he's been here. He's represented Pickering, but also Kingston the whole year here, like you said, at the gold medal game in the World Under-17. So he's done a fantastic job, and he's getting his taste in the OHL, and we can't wait to have him back, which he's back this week. And he's been great. And Mick's been great also. Like, he's come back from Ottawa as an older goalie to help out Betts in any situation that he needs. He recommends stuff that he's gone through himself to Betts, and Betts is learning. So he's learning also from Mick, but he's also learning from Kingston, which I think is fantastic for him, and it's a great situation.
A thing or two about elite goaltenders in this league, being the father of Luke, who of course played with you when you were the coach at Whitby, and moved on to got a scholarship to Yale University. He's playing with the Bulldogs now. Just real quick before we continue talking about the Panthers, how's Luke doing down there?
So he had a really fantastic second year. His stats were up in the top of the league, and then unfortunately last year he had a tear in his hip, so he had to have surgery. So he ended up redshirting, and it's been a year since he's played, but he just started back last week and played his first game, and he did fantastic. So he's back on track to moving forward into his fourth year at Yale to get his degree and hopefully play a fifth year at a new school next year. He'll probably go in the portal and get picked up. So we're pretty excited about it. And he's done a fantastic job.
And leading that OJHL pipeline to Yale for goalies with Noah Pack, of course, heading down as well after last season, which is cool to see. It's tough to believe it'll be 3 years this spring since you guys captured the Buckland, made it all the way to the Centennial Cup final, where you dropped a hard-fought match against just a juggernaut team in the Brooks Bandits. But I can't believe it's been 3 years. That was such a great Pickering team. Just, give us your memories about that year, Rob. It was the first, and you and I have talked about this before. I remember it because they played my hometown Streetsville Derbies the last time that the Pickering Panthers had won a title. And yes, I'm dating myself by saying this. That was in 1985-86. And this was Pickering's first title that you guys won 3 seasons ago now. So, I think it was such a great story. But what are your memories of that season? What really stands out to you, and just how amazing was the experience?
I think from a GM side of it, it was putting together a team with Scotty Nicholson, who is now moved up in the Winnipeg organization in Manitoba there. He's done a great job there, but just working with him, Scotty Nicholson, and putting together a team that, could go out and compete every night. And it was fun. We brought in some OHL guys. We brought in some Quebec guys that came down, and then we got a bunch of local guys, and just to see how we could mesh them together and actually believe that they're here for a reason. What's the next step in their journey? and if we could find them a way to crawl up that ladder and find that journey for them. And I think they did a fantastic job. A lot of the kids still talk together even to this day. There's a couple local guys that have retired from hockey. Matthew Altamar, who's working in the Durham region area here. So memories like that, I know Luker, he still is with us, their assistant equipment manager, talking to Billy all the time, showing the ring. And he reminds me every day that we want to get back there one day and do it again. So it's great.
It was a great story. You guys were so much fun to watch. You had a solid NHL career. You played for Mike, my hometown, beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. Back in the day, you played with the Caps, you played with the Blues. Was coaching always something that was in the back of your mind that you were going to do when you retired from the game?
I actually didn't think about it really at all while I was playing, to be honest. I never thought this was going to be a journey for me. But once I retired and I was at home, I got a call from Marlon Mueller, and he was coaching at UIT. And so he asked me to come and be an assistant there. I did 2 years there, left there after that, and started coaching my son. I didn't want to miss out on that minor hockey journey with my son and be at someone else's game all the time. So I learned more through Hockey Canada, all the classes and everything that I had to do and prepare. I went through all the D1 stuff, the HPR, high performance, classes. And I just wanted to be a part of Hockey Canada and do that, and then find my way. And then finally I found my way to the OJHL, which, this is a great level, 16 to 20-year-old kids that are all striving to do something that maybe I've done, or take a path that they want to do. And I think it's just been a fantastic journey for me, and it's kept me young at heart. And I really enjoy seeing the kids' face every day, going to the rink every day, and trying to help them.
In between the time that you retired, I think it was around 2000 you retired, 2001 maybe, is that right? Or am I off on that? Yeah. And the time that you started coaching, I asked, I had Frank Pietrangelo on earlier on the show, and I asked him sort of the same question. Does it feel like there's something missing when you retired from the game after being involved, obviously at such a high level for so many years? Is there like a void there in a way? I know you've got a lot more time to spend with the family and everything like that, but with that part, did it feel like there was something missing? Was that a big draw as well towards getting back involved with the game?
Do you know what? There's a massive void. I think it's an understatement when you play hockey from 6, 7, 8 years old until 30, 32 years old, or some of these guys, the superstars, go to 40. But you've done nothing but hockey in your life. And I know when I retired, I went home and I actually became mom. My wife went back to work. And I stayed at home and took care of Luke, played out in the court every day with the other moms, and we played baseball with all the kids or whatever in the street. But there's a massive void there. You're sitting there every single day trying to wonder what's next in my life. Where am I headed? And I've been very fortunate. I really believe that if you take the time and you're good to other people, that eventually it's going to come around to you. And I've got a day job at Michael Boyer in Pickering. It's a dealership, a GM dealership. They've been great to me for the last 14 years. And then I've also coached the Pickering Panthers at night. So I've got a great life, and I'm very privileged to have it. And I'm very fortunate because of hockey and to put me in the places where I am today. So I'm very, very, very thankful.
Well, it's been a pleasure seeing you coach in the OJHL so far, and you guys have really turned the Panthers into a great organization. They've got a great history there, going all the way back to the Metro Junior League way back in the days and before that. So great to see you guys doing so well again, and continued success this season. Hopefully you guys can make it into the playoffs. It's going to be a dogfight, isn't it? Really quick before I let you go. Yeah.
That's what you love. Like, I love this situation that I'm in just as much as my championship year. we didn't have to worry about games or winning or anything like that. This year, we're in every single game. You're trying to get a point or two out of it, and you're seeing what you can pull out of these kids to see, hey, do you want the playoffs? Do you not? Let's get there. And you never know what can happen once you build a team and to January 10th, and then you're on the horse and you're racing to try and get to the playoffs. So it's an exciting time, and I'm fortunate. I've had two great owners, Richard Pilosoff and Sarity has been absolutely fantastic since she's been here the last 2 years. So I'm just very lucky.
Awesome. Well, Rob, great catching up with you. We'll do this again soon, and good luck the rest of the season, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Take care.
And that is a wrap for today's show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If so, please help us spread the word, tell a friend, give us a like and a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Thanks so much to Frank Pietrangelo and Rob Pearson for joining me today. And just remember that you can stay up to date with everything that's going on in the OJ by checking out the league's official social media outlets. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week.